mercenaries, really, that's the double M. Born baller, baby boy, I be above the rim.
What's good, family? It's your boy Just Blaze, host of the best NBA pod in the game, Above the Rim. Keep it locked each week and join myself and a special guest as we tackle the latest rumblings in the league. If it's happening in the NBA, you know I got you covered. Make sure you subscribe on all platforms and leave that 5-star review. Let's get it.
You got a towel, man? It's kind of hot out here, man.
Why don't you purify yourself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka?
Good.
Fun and unusual, because I know you've been working on your game.
I learned a new, I got a new hobby, bowling. I'm really good at bowling now.
Oh.
Yeah, very.
Like strikes?
Yeah.
Bumpers or no?
Man, come on, man. Like 200. I'm bowling 200 for sure.
Okay, that's not what we talked about pre-interview. Tell me about Lake Minnetonka.
Oh, yeah, man. You know, I got baptized in Lake Minnetonka. I hit a couple backflips, swimming. I'm going back out there real soon. Meet me at Lake Minnetonka, all Minnesota fans. I'm going back out there, jet skis, everything. We're going to have fun.
Can you swim?
Yeah, like Michael Phelps.
Like Michael Phelps?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Talk about it!
You are now tuned in to Above the Rim. Hoops talk for the streets.
Family, welcome back to another edition of Above the Rim. Hoops talk for the streets, you already know. Brought to you, as always, it's your host, Justin, a.k.a. Just Blaze. Family, you know the drill. To get in contact with me, you can always hit me up and follow me on Twitter, at JustBlaze_513 on IG, at JustBlaze513 on Facebook. Search Above the Rim Podcast. Email the show as well, Above the Rim NBA Podcast at gmail.com. Tap in and leave the family a voicemail. Talk about it line is open, 908-718-1592. Brand new season, brand new things, same old heat. Get your merch. Keep supporting. I appreciate y'all. I see the orders coming through. Solo episode this week. No special guests. It's the Prophecy episode, volume 3 we are on. I just needed to recap the first week of the NBA season. Definitely had a lot of action in the first week of the NBA season. So let's get right into it, man, because there's a lot of shit that's been going on. I got to talk about the Lakers. Got to start off there. The Lakers right now, number one, but got to be must-see TV right now. They had a hell of a first week, especially to start the season. I told y'all before on my League Pass Power Rankings, I had the Lakers number 1. And they're not disappointing us, man. I tell you right now, so far, they played about 3 games right now. They're playing the game tonight for their 4th game. To me, when I look at their overall play, they look in disarray. I'm going to be honest. In my opinion, no real offensive strategy have I seen on a consistent basis. I see a couple of routine pick and rolls. I see Russ barreling to the rim a lot on random possessions. I think he's got to stop pressing a little bit. I think right now he's playing a little bit beside himself, even though when we think about Russ, he is a player that obviously we know plays with a lot of force, with a lot of energy. And he's out of control a lot of the times. Let's keep it real. He's out of control a lot of times. But I think right now with the Lakers, he's even more out of control because he's trying to fit himself, ingratiate himself into the offense, also making an impact, and then trying to get his teammates involved, and also trying to score, and also trying not to be the blame of the Lakers' rough start so far. So I need to see a little bit more from Russ. I mean, it's early. It's just early, very early evaluation. In order for Russ to be successful on this team, honestly, in order for the entire team to be successful this season, I think stats can't matter for the LA Lakers. Stats can't matter at all. If you see Russ trying to get that triple-double, or you see him fighting Melo for a rebound when we get our usual F out of here, if he's fighting AD for a rebound, they can't have any of that, the Lakers right now, if they want to play to their utmost potential. So Russ can't be dominating the ball each possession. LeBron can't be dominating the ball each possession as well. And decisions they need to make, everybody has to be accountable for their decisions that they make on the floor. A couple of those passes that I seen Russ make were just irresponsible. They were just reckless. There were a couple of really cross-court passes that he shouldn't have been making. Just typical defensive reads that you just know you shouldn't do if you were in your comfort zone and if you felt good about yourself. So I think Russ has to take a step back a little. And when I say step back, I don't mean on the bench, because I saw a lot of media outlets, some people on Twitter are talking about Russ should come off the bench. It's not going to happen. Let's be real. Russell Westbrook perennial all-star, all-NBA caliber type player before. He's not coming off the bench right now. It's just not happening. So with that not happening, you have to adjust and make sure that he's playing. If you want him to play with the bench, you have to make sure he plays a lot of minutes with the second unit, put him in a lot more, I would say, lineups. I would say with AD and with Dwight. Less lineups with LeBron, more with AD, more with Dwight. You can have Melo in there also as well. I think Melo can play with anybody, to be honest. So Melo doesn't really matter. But you have to put Russ in the proper positions where he's able to have the ball in his hand, because when he doesn't have the ball in his hands, we can't trust Russ to be on corner duties. Russ on corner duties is a win for the opposing defense. That's a win. Russ on corner duties. So Vogel's got to really nip that in the bud. He really has to try out a new offensive strategy, because I really haven't seen any really that they have been doing on a consistent basis. What else around this Laker team? Dwight, he's been hacking every game. What else is new? AD, he's looked like to me, in my personal opinion, he's looked like he's struggling a little bit to find his new role. And when I say his new role is to be the number one offensive option, the number one offensive go-to guy, and the main option on this team. So I think he is adjusting to that, because I know the vets on this team, LeBron, Melo, Russ, everybody on this team is telling AD, the team is yours. Here are the keys. And I think he wants it. I think he wants to be that guy. But right now, I think he's not necessarily struggling because of him per se. I just think everybody is struggling to just find their place all together at the same time. So, and now the pressure is going to be mounted. The games actually matter. Preseason, I feel like the Lakers low-key took it for granted. They didn't really want to have all four of those guys out there for an extended amount of minutes. They were trying to, I guess, not show their hand or something like that, which to me was kind of whack. You got to just play the preseason, see how your boys look, get ready for the regular season, and you guys are already on your way to being a well-oiled machine. So, and as far as AD goes, he's got to play center. Stop these lineups with you and DeAndre. First of all, DeAndre Jordan, washed. I'm going to be honest. He's done. He's finished. I was giving DeAndre some credit before DJ. He's done. I don't like his defensive read. He's screaming all the time for a foul. He's not as definitely as effective with protecting the rim, but that's neither here nor there. I don't like AD, DJ starting lineups. I'm okay with AD and Dwight lineups, but right now they haven't been as effective, because the first couple of games that the Lakers have been playing, they've been playing elite guards. And when you're playing against an elite guard, you just can't have both of those bigs on the floor. You can't have them playing against a Chris Paul. Can't have them playing against a John Morant. Can't have them playing against a Steph Curry. Those are their first three guards that the Lakers went against. So you can't have those two guys on the floor. They're going to put them in pick and roll coverage all day, every day. If you switch, they're going to kill them. If you run the pick and roll, they're going to kill them on that too as well. So AD, we have to play the five. I mean, everybody's been saying that. I know he's heard it from the coaching staff. I know he's heard it from Twitter. He's probably hearing it from the people around him. So I think the best lineups, obviously, and I think it might be widely known that the best lineups with the Lakers are with AD at center. So when we talked about it last episode, when I had Reem and Damo on, I talked about AD needs to play the five, and I wanted to start Melo at the 4. I think Melo needs to be starting on this team. LeBron at the 3. I'm not a fan of Bazemore, but I guess I would personally start Monk, but I get why they're starting a defender, which is cool. So I would, I guess, start Bazemore by default, but they need to upgrade at that position. And then Russ, of course. So that should be their starting lineup to me. I know they want to keep Melo as an offensive punch off the bench, but to me, Melo can play both. He can start. You could take him out early. You could take LeBron out early and have him playing with the second unit. However you want to slice it. I think the best bet is for the Lakers for Melo to start, and so they can spread the floor a little bit better. Russ can have a little bit more room, and they can stop that waste of minutes that DeAndre Jordan is playing. So, and when we talk about Melo, he's fitting himself in well. We seen the last game they played against the Grizzlies. John Morant, by the way, the Grizzlies almost took them boys out. So that was a hell of a game, by the way. John Morant put on a damn show. Melo, he was excellent. He lit the Staples Center up that game. Was the savior of that game, low-key. They wouldn't have been in that game without Melo, his timely shots. And he got the Staples Center live right now. I can't lie. I saw a tweet from somebody that said that nothing nothing equates to when Steph Curry shoots a three inside of the Golden State Warriors arena. I forgot the name of the arena. Look at me. And I agree with that. But low-key on a close second, Staples Center, when Melo was getting ready to raise up for a three. I know it's only been 3 or 4 games in now, but when he raises up for a three, it's loud in that building. I'm loud in the crib. I tell you that right now. I'm loud in the crib when Melo shoots a three. So I know the arena is loud there as well. So Melo, I love how he's playing this far. Ready to shoot that at all times. I'm not mad at that. That's typical Melo. But I like how he's played this far. LeBron, doing typical LeBron things. He's dominating as usual, playing well. But I think LeBron, if I had to critique LeBron a little bit, because he usually eases his way into the season, which is fine. I think he just needs to tighten up on the little things. You know, occasionally before in the past previous couple of years, especially since he's been at LA, LeBron can have a tendency to take a few defensive possessions off every now and again. So before he could get away with it playing with those young guys because he had those guys there picking up for him. But now you got your peers on the squad. You got Melo, you got Russ, you got AD, you got Dwight. These boys are going to tell you something about yourself. So when those replays start coming out on Twitter or wherever the case may be of LeBron taking a few possessions off, when he gets to film sessions, Melo one day will say, listen, you can't tell me about my defense right now. I need you to pay attention as well, each and every possession. So I just think the Lakers right now are not having an issue, but they just have to tighten up on their accountability amongst each other. I just think everyone is playing, acting a little bit fearful. No one wants to step on each other's toes. And that's okay because it's the beginning. But they need to tighten that up. And speaking of tightening that up, AD and Dwight in the huddle, their little altercation? Come on now. Come on, fella. It was a little disrespectful doing that on the bench in front of everybody. I'm not going to lie. That was a little ridiculous. I was laughing at it. Me at home, I was watching the game. They were playing the Suns, CP3 giving them that work. The Suns giving them that smoke in that game. They got beside themselves in that game and they were arguing amongst each other. And I didn't see a lot of camaraderie in that game too, especially on the bench. That AD Dwight scuffle was ridiculous, uncalled for. Dwight, low key, if I hope you kissing up to AD a little bit right now, or else you need to pack your bags, my brother, because I don't think they were too fond of that. But if I'm keeping it a stack, that low-key was AD's fault. I did, at the end of the timeout, I forgot what play it was, but it was a lot of shit happening in that game, by the way, that Lakers-Suns game. But when they were heading to the bench at the end of the timeout, AD was basically pursuing Dwight on the bench. And basically, I couldn't really read his lips, obviously, through the camera, but it looked like he was saying to him, like, yo, you didn't hear me? You didn't hear what I said? So he was actually going toward him to actually making sure he heard him. And Dwight didn't really take that too lightly, how he ran up on him. So he basically got up. They both rose up on each other, and it was in a split second, man. It would turn into a little baby scuffle. So, I think that was uncalled for, and I don't think that should have been seen. That's basically, shit like that happens in the locker room every game. We know this. We know when the fellas are playing ball, tensions rise, shit happens. But they shouldn't have let that spilled over into the bench. I know it's a heat in the moment, but they got to tighten that up a little bit. They got to trust each other a little bit more, because that's the only way this particular Lakers team, they're going to succeed this season, if all of those guys trust each other. So we'll see. And I also didn't like how they was trying to punk my man Campaign too, man, talking shit. LeBron talking shit to Campaign, man, saying he need to be humble, man. I didn't like that. Campaign was giving him that work. He's happy to be in the league. He went to the finals last year. He played excellent through the playoffs. Campaign could talk his shit, man. Campaign, talk your shit, man. You could. You good. So, Lakers, man. The Russ experiment, work in progress. We'll see how that goes, and maybe they should be getting better soon in the near future. So we'll see how that goes. Like I said, they played the Suns. I got to talk about them a little bit. My word for the Suns this season: execution, execution, execution. They lost their focus in their first couple of games against the Nuggets, against the Blazers. They weren't playing the same way they do offensively, executing every possession like they were last season. They took a little bit of a step back defensively, but I just think they haven't been focused in their first couple. They've been focused, but they're just not executing the way they should. They're not communicating right the way they usually are on their normal ways, especially carrying over what led them into the finals last season. So I think they just have to get over the early kinks. I'm not really too worried about the Suns. I know they're going to get back on track, Booker's not really playing to his normal standards. I think he's only averaging 18 or 19, but I'm not worried about him. He's going to get his groove together. He just missed all of preseason. Actually, he played one game in the preseason. He missed media day. He missed all of training camp. So this is essentially Devin Booker's extended training camp right now. So I think after the first 5 games, you're going to see normal Book. He played a lot too in Olympic summer games. So there's a lot on his plate. So I'm not worried about him. But CP, he's been playing well to start the season. One thing I would say about him is that he needs to up his aggressiveness. Now, when I look at the Suns team, the best Suns team is with an aggressive CP. I need him scoring more. I think last year he scored 16 a night. I might need him to bump that up to 18. I know this is year 17 we on now, but CP3 is still elite, clearly. So I think he needs to up his scoring a little bit until the team can get their footing. What I've liked from the Suns so far, actually, before I get onto that, I got to give a major shout out to my boy. I can't believe I forgot this right now. The first player making history, the first player to reach 20,000 points, 10,000 points. 10,000 assists in NBA history. Look at me messing that up. The only player, I repeat, the only player, 20K points, 10K assists. Not Magic, not MJ, not LeBron, not Kobe, not Kareem, not Stockton, not Steph. One of one, CP3. So shout out to my man for making history. Give my son his flowers while he can still smell them, man. So shout out to CP3. Got the bobblehead here on the table. You already know. Shout out to my boy CP, man. 20K points, 10K assists. So he's picking up right where he's left off last season. He's been playing well, but I expect a lot from CP. So he can up his scoring. Now, looking at the rest of the Suns roster, I love the improvement from Mikal Bridges. He's stepped up his offensive role this season. A few possessions he's made at the top of the key, which I really like. A couple of people already knew he's one of the best cutters in the NBA. He's continuing to do that, being one of the best cutters in the NBA. He's taken a few more cats off the dribble. Occasionally from here in the Laker game, he did it on a few possessions. He went to the lane. He got a couple of fouls. I really like the aggressiveness from Mikal Bridges. And his defense is always superb. So I got to give him credit there. Ayton. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. DeAndre Ayton. I know he's mad about his extension. I think he should have gotten that 5-year max, 5-year rookie extension. The Suns, I believe I was hearing that they only offered him 3 or 4. He wanted the full 5-year max that Trey got, that Luka got. And that's understandably so. He was the number 1 pick in the draft ahead of those guys. But I guess Suns front office, Suns management didn't see that Ayton was really worthy, and I wouldn't say worthy enough, but wasn't worthy of the 5 years. They thought he was worthy enough for the 3 or 4. But that's neither here nor there. I think I understand Ayton's frustration, but I need him to channel that frustration and show it on the court, on the floor. So far this season, he hasn't really been doing that in the first couple of games. He hasn't really made a great case as to why they should have paid him that 5-year max. He's only averaging, 10 and 8 on the season. It's early, but 10 points, that's not enough for Ayton. If he wants to be that max player that you want them to give you that money for, you need to demand that ball, and you're going to have to give me at least 18, I would say. 16 would be nice, but 18 would really, 20 would be great, but that may be too much to ask. But honestly, I don't really think it's too much to ask, because if you're a max player, you should be able to give me 20 and 10. So Ayton, I need him to step up tremendously in the next couple of games, because right now he's just looking like a very good center. He needs to be an elite center in the first couple of games. And you were that in the playoffs last year. You were an elite center. I know he sacrificed his game a lot last year. CP coming over, he sacrificed a lot of his offensive game. In the summer, he called himself, I think in the summer, on media day, he called himself the most wanted big man in the league coming into this season. And show us. Show me. We know you got the skill. We know you got the talent. Ask for the rock a little bit more and really put your stamp on the game early and often as well. So we got to see a little bit more from DeAndre Ayton, but it's early, like I said. So we'll see how the season progresses. The New York Knicks, I got to talk about. Fans are litty. New York fans are litty to tea in the Garden right now to open up the season. I really like how this team has performed. I'm not going to lie. They opened up the season with a great W against the Celtics. That was a hell of a double overtime game. JT was in the Garden. But Jaylen Brown in the Garden, he played an excellent game. Did he have 50 or I think it was 49? Somewhere close to 50 he had in the Garden. MSG is rocking, looking like the best looking like the best arena in the NBA, which it is. Looks to me, the Knicks, First couple of games, tremendous chemistry. They have the heart. They have the desire. They have the hunger you need as a team. But when I'm looking at their team right now, if I have to critique one thing, I think their defense low-key has taken a slight step back, just a slight step back. And I know that doesn't make Tibbs too happy, who was a defensive coach. Cole Anthony came in there and lit them up in the Garden the other night. They had a tough loss to the Magic, but they're going to bounce back from that, playing against the Philadelphia 76ers. Randall, lights out. He's been 28 and 11 for this season, 6 assists, 5 or 6 assists. Kemba, wanted to discuss Kemba a little bit. He needs to up his play a little bit. Now, I know it's only been the first week. He's still trying to ingratiate himself into the offense. Derrick Rose is coming off the bench outplaying Kemba Walker. So I noticed some of the crunch time minutes were going to D Rose rather than they going to Kemba, which is fine. Whoever's playing better in that game should be playing. But all in all, I got to say, Kemba Walker, he's got to play better. He's got to be better for the Knicks to take that next leap. Last year was a first round and out. They were exposed a little bit in the playoffs. He's got to be the one to really step his game up. Randall, he's coming here. He's picking up right where he left off last season. He's been excellent. Kemba, I need you to step up. He's only averaging, I think it was 10 for the season so far, which is a tad disappointing, but I'm giving him time to get better, ingratiate himself a little bit more. He has to play better defense as well. So we're going to see how he progresses thus far. I know Tibbs is in his air. I know the rest of the team is in this air because last year, New York Knicks, top 3 defensive team in the league. They were exceptional. So they need to get back to that rather than becoming an offensive team, which it looks like their offense has taken a step up and their defense has taken a slight step down. So we need to see those two even out a little bit more for them to do what they need to do. I love how Fournier is playing as well. He's been playing excellent, but I'm going to be honest, he shouldn't be your number 2 scorer. Like, I know he's a number 2 scorer right now behind Randall, but he shouldn't be number 2. Number 3, number 4 is cool. Kemba's got to be that guy to be your number 2 scorer. D Rose can be in there as number 3 because he's number 2 right now. So RJ, he's been exceptional on defense, actually. He's been upping his defensive capabilities this season. I really like how he's been playing. He can take those threes, and those free throws are going to fall as far as the season goes on. I got him as one of my candidates for most improved player. I think he's going to play a lot better to go into the season. I think he's going to come into his own. So we'll see how RJ progresses as the season goes on. And I'm really liking what I'm seeing from the Knicks so far. So we'll see. Kemba, need to step up. Randall, keep doing your thing, my brother. The Nets, they look a little discombobulated to start the season. I'm not going to lie. I went to the game, yesterday? They played against the Wizards. They won that game. They played okay. I didn't really like what I was seeing from an actual team standpoint, but they played pretty good offensively. KD, it's going to be KD no matter what. Patty Mills has been stepping up. Patty Mills, hell of a pickup. My man Patty, playing like Olympic Patty right now. I really like that. But the elephant in the room is James Harden I was about to say New Jersey. For the Brooklyn Nets, it's James Harden. Look at me. So when we look at James Harden, man, he's had a rough start to the season, I would say. When I look at him right now, it looks like his role has kind of adapted a little bit more this season for the Brooklyn Nets. He's playing a lot more facilitator this season. And I'm not really liking that because when you think of James Harden, you think of him as a scorer first, passer second. Right now, he's been a passer first, scorer second. And I think it's throwing him off and throwing all his natural motions off because when I see him playing, he doesn't look as aggressive anymore. 2-3 years ago, James Harden, Houston Rockets, James Harden, ultra aggressive, averaging over 30. We know what he used to do. We know the type of numbers that he used to put up. But he's not doing that right now for the Nets. I think he's starting the game off looking to involve everybody else in the offense rather than getting his own shot and rather than everybody else playing off of him. His gravity of his shooting and his scoring. You got KD over there. We don't need to worry about him. He doesn't need to get KD shots. But maybe he feels like he needs to get everyone else involved early and often, which I do agree with to an extent. Definitely get your teammates involved, but you can't forget about yourself. Because right now for the Nets, they need Harden. He can't be regular Harden right now for this Nets team. He has to be MVP level James Harden, Houston Rockets level MVP James Harden in order for the Nets to be that favorite title contender that everybody thinks they are. So when I look at James Harden right now, James Harden, the accessory in addition to Kyrie is a luxury. James Harden, the necessity is a challenge right now because right now they need James Harden to be MVP level James Harden. When Kyrie's there, they don't need James Harden to be that MVP level player. So he can kind of take plays off or, take his time easing himself into the offense, doing a little bit more facilitating. But right now, he's got to do a lot more scoring, and then do the same type of facilitating, but do it a little bit less and more scoring, because they're talking about his scoring being down right now due to the refs. I hate that. I see Nash. I think he was talking to the reporters the other night, complaining about James Harden's calls, saying that Harden is now the poster boy for the new rules. I don't necessarily agree with that at all. I think he has a slight point. The new rules that the NBA has implemented this season, they're having a profound effect on the game as a whole. Free throw shooting is down across the board. Free throws attempts per game, I think it's up to 19, the lowest in NBA history. So it has been having an effect on the league as a whole, not just particularly James Harden. But has it affected him a little bit? Yes, of course. We know a lot of his points came from the free throw line before. I wrote down something before. His last 3 years in Houston, James Harden, when he won those 3 straight scoring titles, he averaged an unprecedented 23 combined three-point attempts and free throw attempts per game. That was 12 threes and 11 free throws attempts per game. Last year, to put that into context, last year when he got to the Brooklyn Nets, he averaged 7 three-point attempts and 7 free throws, down from 12 and 11. And now this year, 7 three-point attempts, but 3 free throw attempts per game. So that's a chunk of your scoring going down. And I don't know what he's averaging right now. I think it's 14 or 16 for the season. Yes, the refs have something to do with James Harden scoring going down, but it's also a lot to do with James Harden as well, because with him not getting the calls, it's affecting a large portion of his game as a whole. He doesn't look as aggressive to me as he normally was, especially last year. I assume he's healthy from that hamstring that plagued him in the playoffs last year. I assume so, because I haven't heard anything otherwise. But to me, he just looks a little slower. James Harden was never the person in the greatest shape, but he looks the same body-wise. But he just looks a little bit slower in his moves, getting into his reads a little bit slower, and definitely not as aggressive as we're used to seeing James Harden be. So we need him to step up. Nets need him to step up to be who they want to be. In the beginning of the season, Harden was talking shit when he was talking about scary hours. Nobody's scared of the Nets right now. I'm going to be honest with you. Nobody's scared of the Nets right now. So you have to instill that fear in the rest of the league, because these young boys are ready and they coming at you guys. When it comes to Kyrie, hopefully he get back soon. We know the deal going over there with the vaccine mandate. He may or may not play soon enough. We'll see how that goes. I'm hoping he does play sooner rather than later. Hopefully, maybe by Christmas, maybe something can happen. We'll see, because they're missing a big chunk of their team with Kyrie out. So we'll see how that goes, man. That's going to be an ongoing dilemma into the season. So we'll see. I want to give a spotlight. Chicago Bulls. They need some love. Started the season 4-0. Levine giving you 25, 5, and 4. DeRozan giving you 22 and 5. Lonzo, triple Bs. The big ball away giving you 14, 5, and 5. He's shooting over 40% from 3. I really love how the Bulls are playing, man. They're playing with energy. They're hungry. They're ready to win. These guys look like they're all on the same page and they're all on the same court. And I really love how they're playing. Now, everybody is ready to win right now in the playoffs. You can clearly see they are not trying to be a play-in team. They want to make the playoffs and have a comfortable seat in the East. And I like it. So I really love how they're playing. I want to talk about leadership also as well with this Bulls team, because I'm closely watching the leadership dynamic on the floor. So far it's been good. I've seen DeRozan, Levine taking turns deferring to each other toward the end of the game, which is a nice thing they have going right there. They're definitely going to have to get to learn each other a little bit more. I saw against the Raptors and against the Pistons, they both had multiple opportunities to close out both teams. So I do love how these guys are sharing the leadership role on and off the floor with the Chicago Bulls. So I think they have a nice little dynamic, nice young hungry guys. Caruso has been playing excellent. Patrick Williams came back and playing excellent. So I really like what the Bulls are doing, and they were all my League Pass watch also. So like I said, make sure you guys are watching the Bulls as well. 76ers, the penitentiary. I don't know what's going on there, Ben Simmons. I still don't know how long his standoff will last. It's getting pretty comical. It's a little annoying, Round, because it's like, come on, dude. Either you're going to play or you're not going to play. They're not going to trade you clearly right now until you showcase yourself on the floor. So hopefully that's over sooner rather than later, because I'm sick of hearing about Ben Simmons. I'll tell you that right now. The Warriors, Steph looks great. They have been playing excellent, undefeated right now. Steph is number 1 or number 2 in scoring. I think Ja's number 1, Steph is number 2. Steph is picking up right where he left off with his MVP caliber season last year. When they get Clay back, they're going to be something to watch as well. I know a lot of people are talking about the Warriors are a sleeper pick, but they're not really sleepers because everybody knows the talent that they have on that team. So they should be making the playoffs. I think it was disappointing that they didn't make it last year. So to me, they're not really a sleeper unless you're saying that they're going to the finals. Are they making the playoffs? Yes. Should they make the playoffs? Yes. Charlotte Hornets. Talked about the big ball away over there with the Chicago Bulls, and Lonzo playing exceptional. LaMelo, even better to this season, man. Once again, listen, I know I'm going to say that. Once again, another team on my League Pass watch. The Charlotte Hornets, man. They have been must-see TV. As I knew, I think a lot of people knew, they are a fast-paced, lovely team to watch. I love how they play. Must-see TV, like I said before. LaMelo, I think he's averaging over 22 and 5 this season. He's been playing great. He is in rare form right now, and I got him on All-Star watch. He should be an All-Star. I know it's early. I'm saying people should be All-Stars, but if he continues to play this way, because I assume he will, and the Hornets are going to be in playoff contention in the East, LaMelo Ball, All-Star. 100% he should be. So I'm definitely looking at the Miles Bridges. I also got to give a shout out to him. He's been playing excellent. They had over 32 out of the 3 games. He's been playing excellent. The Miami Heat, I want to talk about as well. They're legit. I've been telling y'all about the Heat. They've been playing excellent. They had, I forgot who they played game 1. I feel like they lost game 1 or was it game 2? But I know when they played the Bucks, they smacked the Bucks. I think they played the Magic the other night. They beat them. I like how they're playing. You have to watch out for the injuries with the Heat because that's going to be a problem for them. Kyle Lowry's already missed the game. Hopefully he can stay healthy for a majority of the season so we can see the real Heat. What to watch for is Oladipo when he's going to come back. They said he's been progressing earlier than his predicted timetable. So hopefully Oladipo comes back a little bit earlier. By January, they were saying they should have another update on Oladipo. Maybe he comes back by then, January, February. We'll see because the Heat need him and he will give them another dynamic that they need, another playmaker, another guard because Hero, 6th man of the year. I think he's coming off the bench. He's been playing well. And we're going to see how the Heat are progressing throughout the season. The Celtics, got to talk about them really quick. Disappointed a little bit ready, but I'm still all in on this team. My sleeper pick of the season. Tatum is starting to round out to form, my MVP pick. They already have a lot of people in and out of the lineup already. Horford already missed the game. Jaylen Brown already missed the game. Tatum giving you 27, Jaylen giving you 28 also. They had a crazy game against the Hornets the other night, overtime. That was an exceptional game. So I'm really looking out to see how the Hornets progress throughout the season. Love the coach, Ime Udoka. He's been excellent on the sidelines. He has a nice calming presence that I see. So I really like how that. I love Schroeder on that team. Smart has been playing well. So we'll see. My man, Time Lord, I got to give him some shine. Give some shout out to Time Lord, Robert Williams. Shout out to me and Damo, because that's shit that we talk about all the time in our chat with my man Time Lord. So the Celtics, I'm looking out for them. The Wizards are solid. I really like how this team has come together. They got a nice little team over there, low-key. Montrez, Kuz, Dinwiddie, Beal, Bertans. We'll see if he can round out to form. Gafford, I really like how he's been playing. The key for me with this team is seeing when Hachimura is going to come back. Him coming back is going to make them a much better team. He gives them another dynamic, another person at the 3-4 that they can slot in with Kuz. So I think the Wizards are going to be making some noise in the East this season. I think they're definitely going to be in playoff contention. Quick shout out, John Morant. Show that young man some love. Leading the league in scoring right now. I know it's early, but leading the league in scoring. Averaging over 30. I think it's 34 or 35, something like that. 8 assists. Gave the Lakers that work the other night. Man, had those boys on skates. Give me some of that. But John Morant, he's been excellent. One of my favorite players in the league. He's also on All-Star watch. He better be an All-Star this year, too. Listen, you never know. It could be an All-NBA selection in the future for him if he can continue to play this way, because I think the Grizzlies are definitely going to be in the West playoff contention as well. I wanted to get into this before we get on out of here. The NBA 75 list, the 75 best players that I don't know who, actually it was the NBA who put out the NBA 75 list. There was a lot of debate going on with this list. So I'm going to be honest, It was all right. I wasn't really that mad at the list at all. I think they pretty much got it mostly correct. Were there any snubs? Yes, of course. There's snubs on every single list. One of the snubs is Dwight Howard, of course. I think everybody knows that. I feel like he should have been on the NBA 75. 8-time All-Star, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Those Magic years when he went to the finals in 2009? That finals against Kobe. That whole run, those 2 years of the 3 years of the Magic, he was the catalyst. Those Hedo Turkoglu years, those Rafer Alston years. JJ Redick was on that squad. Michael Petrus, I think, was on that team too. So Jameer Nelson. Listen, Dwight Howard, he wasn't playing with a lot of all-stars on that team. So you got to give him respect and love for carrying that team into playoff contention and into title contention. They didn't win it, obviously, of course, but they were always in the mix those couple of years when he was at the peak of his career in Orlando. So I would definitely have Dwight on the list. I would take out AD for Dwight if I had to take someone out. I would go Dwight over AD for me in particular. AD, I can see him being on the NBA 75 list, but I think it's a little bit premature to put AD on that NBA 75 list. I still got to see how the rest of his career pans out because he's been an incredible stat stuffer before he got to the Lakers, won his title with them. But we'll see if he can take the Lakers and be their cornerstone franchise the years after LeBron, if he's still there. We'll see how that goes. So I would use Dwight over AD. Another snub, gotta have T-Mac in there. I would definitely have T-Mac in there. So I would go T-Mac over Dame if I had to take somebody out. No disrespect to Dame, but I would have T-Mac over him. I'm not gonna lie. 7-time All-Star, 2-time scoring champ for T-Mac. Dame definitely can be in that NBA 75 list, but to me, he just doesn't have the accolades, the individual accolades to be on that list yet. He still can, of course. His career is not done. But for right now, I would have T-Mac over Dame. Is Kyrie a snub? Yes, he is. I don't know who I would take off for Kyrie, but yes, he is a snub. He definitely could be. I could see him being there. Klay Thompson, he's not a snub. I think he needs to chill a little bit. Phenomenal shooter, phenomenal defender, but he was a tad bit one-dimensional on the offensive side of the ball. So, is he a snub? I can see how you want to put him in, but for me personally, for my NBA 75, I don't have him in. So, whatever. A snub for me that I think not a lot of people are talking about. Chris Webber. I don't think I saw Chris Webber on that list. He should be on that NBA 75. C-Web. I'm one of C-Web's big supporters. I think he's one of the best power forwards to ever play in this game. Definitely didn't get enough credit for how good he was on those Kings years, Golden State, all those years that C-Web was playing. So I think he's a snub. He should have been in the NBA 75. I got to look at it again to see who I would take off. But if there was no Dwight, I would put him in over AD. Alonzo Mourning also, I think, should be some consideration from that NBA 75 list. I would also consider him as well. I think he's slept on. He was an essential part of those Heat teams, of course, and obviously those Hornets teams as well, the early 93 teams, but mostly Heat. So I would definitely have Alonzo Mourning on that NBA 75 list as well. So, but when the list came out, I wasn't that mad about it. Not gonna lie. It's all for topics, all for discussion. So we'll see how that goes. Family, prophecy time. Every year I do my annual prophecy episode. This one is volume 3. I go over who I think will make it to the NBA finals. The last 2 years, y'all can't sleep on me. 2 of my picks have been all right. The last 2 years, I've had the Heat going to the finals. In the year when they were going to the bubble, they made it. The second year, last year, I had the Suns going to the finals. They made it. So it's prophecy time, man. It's time for my annual NBA finals prediction. And I'm not one of those people who pick teams and say if healthy all the time. I don't care what happens. I don't give a damn. I'm calling it healthy or not. Who cares? Representing the East, the Miami Heat. I'm picking to go to the NBA finals, man. I know this is hard. Listen, this is hard for me. They're going to have a tough time getting past those look at me. They're going to have a tough time getting past those Brooklyn Nets. But I think there's too much extracurricular activity surrounding the Brooklyn Nets right now this season. Talent-wise, most talented team in the league, talent-wise. But I think there's a lot going on with them. And I don't know if they're going to be fully healthy when it gets to the dog days of the season, end of the season. Playoff time, they're going to be healthy, but you never know what's going to happen. So I personally think the Heat are ready. They're built for the grit and grind mentality that they have right now. They have exceptional defenders. I love the PJ Tucker pickup. I love Kyle Lowry coming over there. He puts everybody in their natural position. And I think they're hungry right now. So Coach Spo, one of my favorite coaches in the league, top 3 coach in the league. So I got the Heat in the finals for the East. And I got the Phoenix Suns in the finals for the West, man. I think the Suns are going to pick up where they left off. I think they're going to round into form. Right now, they're looking a little shaky, but round into form as the season progresses. I think they're going to have a great regular season record, have home court advantage throughout the playoffs. The West is a bloodbath, so whoever gets out of the West is going to be a problem. So I got the Suns and the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals. We'll see if those two make it. I know everyone wants the Lakers and the Nets Finals, but I don't pick what everybody else picks. That's just how I do. So we'll see. The Lakers, there's a lot going on over there with LA, so we'll see, man. But of course, I'm going to be here with y'all each and every week, keeping you locked for the NBA coverage. There's going to be a lot going on this season. I think this is going to be one of the most competitive seasons that we've seen in a long time. It was tough for me to make those finals picks because I know everyone's going with the easy Lakers and Nets, but I think there's going to be some tough battles in the playoffs, man. So, family, definitely keep it locked to this season of Above the Rim and for this NBA season as a whole because it's about to get sticky, man, for sure. Make sure you keep connected with me on Twitter, on Instagram. Send me your hot takes. Give me a shout outs, whatever you need. You want to talk a hoops, definitely let me know. For this upcoming season, definitely some new guests, some more guests, special episodes. Going to be a lot more content coming in this season, so keep it locked, man. I appreciate y'all. This is episode 164, and we out.